I am Sudha, Assistant Professor, Department of Biotechnology, St.Josephs College of Arts and Science for Women, Hosur. Now we are going to see about overview of renal system. What is renal system? The renal system consists of the kidney, ureters and the urethra. The overall function of the system filters approximately 200 liters of fluid a day from renal blood flow, which allows for toxin, metabolic waste products and excess ion to be excreted while keeping essential substances in the blood. The kidney regulates plasma osmolarity by modulating the amount of water, solutes and the electrolytes in the blood. It ensures long-term acid-base balance and also produces erythropoietin, which stimulates the production of red blood cell. It also produces renin for blood pressure regulation and carries out the conversion of vitamin D to its active form. The renal development, the process of urine production and excretion, and the clinical significance of the renal system will be the focus on this article. Structure of renal system. Frontal section through the kidney. It contains medulla, renal vein, renal artery, ureter, capsule, cortex, renal column, pyramid, renal pelvis, major cults, minor cults, papillae. Mechanism of renal system. Glomerular filtration. Glomerular filtration is the initial process in urine production. It is a passive process in which hydrostatic pressure pushes fluid and solute through a membrane with no energy requirement. The filtration membrane has three layers: fenestrated endothelium of the glomerular capillaries, which allow blood components except the cells to pass through basement membrane, which is a negatively charged physical barrier that prevents protein from permeating, and foot process of podocytes of the glomerular capsule that creates more selective filtration. The outward and the inward force from the capillaries determine how much water and solute crosses the filtration membrane. Hydrostatic pressure from the glomerular capillaries is the major filtration force with a pressure of 55 mmHg. The other potential filtration force is the capsular space colloid osmotic pressure, but it is zero because proteins are not usually present within the capsular space. Then the capsular space hydrostatic pressure and the colloid osmotic pressure in the glomerular capillaries negate the filtration force from the hydrostatic pressure in the glomerular capillaries, creating a net filtration pressure which plays a big role in the glomerular filtration rate. The four different tubular segments have each unique observed properties. The first is the proximal convoluted tube. The PCT cells have the most absorptive capability. In the normal circumstance, the PCT reabsorb all the glucose and amino acid as well as 65% of sodium and water. The PCT reabsorbs sodium ions by primary active transport via basolateral sodium-potassium pump. In reabsorb glucose, amino acids and vitamins through secondary active transport with sodium and electrochemical gradient drives passive paracellular diffusion. The PCT reabsorb water by osmosis, that is driven by solute reabsorption. It also reabsorbs lipid soluble solutes via passive diffusion driven by the concentration gradient created by reabsorption of water. Reabsorption of urea occurs in the PCT as well by passive paracellular diffusion driven by a chemical gradient. From the PCT, the non-reabsorbed filtrate move on to the nephron loop. The nephron loop functionally divides into descending and an ascending limb. The descending limb functions to reabsorb water via osmosis. This process is possible due to abundance of aquaporins. Solutes do not get reabsorbed in this region. However, in the ascending limb, sodium moves passively down its concentration gradient in the thin segment of the ascending limb, and also sodium, potassium and chlorides get reabsorbed together through a symporter in the thick segment of ascending limb. Tubular secretion. Tubular secretion function is to dispose of substance such as drugs and metabolites that bind to plasma protein. Tubular secretion also functions to eliminate undesirable substances that were reabsorbed passively such as urea and uric acids. Elimination of excess potassium via aldosterone hormones regulations at collecting duct and distal DCT are part of tubular secretion function. There is an elimination of hydrogen ion when the blood pH drops below the normal range. Then when the blood pH increases above the normal range. Reabsorption of chloride ions occurs as bicarbonic acid gets excreted. The secretion of creatinine, ammonia and many other organic acids and basic occur. Storage of urine. Once the production of urine is complete, it travels through a structure called ureter for urine storage in the bladder. There are two ureters in the human body, one on each side, left and right. They are slender tube with three layered walls. The mucosa that contains a transnational epithelial tissue, muscularis, that is composed of the internal longitudinal layer and the external circular layer, and adventia, that is a fibrous connective tissue that covers the ureter's external surface. As urine makes its way to the ureters, the stretching of the ureter smooth muscles results in peristaltic contractile waves that help move the urine into the bladder. The oblique insertion of the ureter, that posterior bladder wall, prevents black flow of urine. Once the urine is in the bladder inegu anatomy allows for efficient storage of urine. Thank you.